and say thank you for this fight. And we shake hands. And he said, thank you for the fight also, and this is sport. Yeah, this is what happened. You are a good fighter also. And then we had another talk. He came, but he didn't. But he said, like, I will not shake hand now because we will have third fight. And it was in the normal way, not like arrogant. You know, it was fine. I said, okay, no problem.
The best way to attack someone is when they're attacking you. And before the fight, the plan was to stay calm and composed and structured and pick your shots, and show that tonight.
You're probably you probably don't know what day of the week he is. He's got Daniel Dubois' gloves on.
In a historic night for boxing, Riyadh season's The Last Crescendo delivered an unforgettable spectacle at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on February 22nd, 2025. First, let's dive into reactions from Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol for the undisputed light heavyweight crown. In the aftermath of Dmitry Bivol's victory, Eddie Hearn had praised Artur Beterbiev's resilience, describing him as a machine in the ring. He had emphasized that Bivol's performance had been one of the greatest of a lifetime, as it had taken such brilliance to finally defeat Beterbiev. Hearn had also stated that Bivol's win had served as justice for their first bout.
I was watching Artur Beterbiev thinking, this guy's incredible, he's like a machine, how do you stop him? And it took one of the greatest performances of our lifetime to overcome him and to beat him. And Dmitry Bivol did that tonight. Tonight, in my opinion, Dmitry Bivol got justice from the first fight and become the undisputed light heavyweight world champion with a performance for the ages. And now this man sits here with all the belts, the king of the 175-pound division.
Moreover, Eddie Hearn had argued that Dmitry Bivol's victory had cemented his status as the world's undeniable pound-for-pound number 2 fighter.
And we have to remember, this is also the guy that went to Las Vegas and Cinco de Mayo and beat Canelo Alvarez, the pound-for-pound number 1. This is also the guy that just beat the undisputed champion, who was top 5 pound for pound. For me, there is an argument that this man here sits as pound for pound number 1. We'll give Usyk the benefit of the doubt because he's a great fighter, but for me right now, this is the pound for pound number 2 in the sport. One of the best performances I've ever seen.
Dmitry Bivol had revealed that he and his team had expected Artur Beterbiev to apply relentless pressure from the opening bell. However, Bivol had stated that his strategy had been clear: stay mobile, remain focused, and execute sharp counterpunching to disrupt Beterbiev's aggression.
You know, I was just trying to following my plan, my plan for the fight. We knew that he could start from the beginning, from the first round he could start pressuring, but my task was just keep moving, be focused, and counterpunch.
Moreover, Bivol believed that the win was sweet, stating that reclaiming his title, avenging his defeat, and finally securing a win over Beterbiev had satisfied his long-standing hunger for redemption.
Of course, it's very sweet, you know. I took my belt back, and it's revenge also for me, and it was sitting something inside of me. I wanted to win, and I won.
Meanwhile, Bivol's manager Vadim Kornilov had expressed his frustration over Judge Jean-Robert Lane's scoring, criticizing his decision to score the fight 114-114 as a draw. Kornilov had questioned when such judging controversies would finally come to an end and demanded accountability from sanctioning bodies. He had called for Lane to review the fight and provide a clear explanation for his scorecard.
Like, I'm not afraid to say it anymore. When is this gonna stop? Why isn't there any sanctioning body supervision that can look into how Jean-Robert Lane saw this card 114-114? I'm not going to talk about the other judges right now. I'm not going to talk about the previous fight. But Jean-Robert Lane should be reviewed, and he should look at the fight again and show how he saw. I looked at the CompuBox numbers. 31% Dmitry Bivol landed punches, 17% Beterbiev. Jean-Robert Lane, what are you watching?
Spencer Brown had praised the fight, stating that it had lived up to expectations and delivered an incredible spectacle. He had described the contest as so evenly matched that a draw had seemed like a fair outcome. Brown had also reflected on both bouts, suggesting that Bivol may have been unfortunate in the first fight, while Beterbiev had struggled in the rematch, making it one victory apiece between the two.
It lived up to what it said on the tin, didn't it? It was incredible. That last fight was one of the best fights I've ever seen. I thought it was so even, it was probably a draw, but, you know, Bivol got it. I thought in the first fight, Bivol won it, and maybe the second fight, I saw Beterbiev won it, but anyway, one each, and we look for the next one.
Spencer further emphasized that the rivalry could not be left unresolved, as both fighters now held one victory and one defeat against each other. Brown had suggested that a trilogy fight was necessary to settle the score once and for all.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. They can't leave it like that, can they?
Carl Froch shared his thoughts on the fight, stating that it had been difficult to separate the two from the opening round to the final bell. He had noted that everyone had expected a close contest, and that's exactly what had unfolded. Froch had also praised both fighters for leaving everything in the ring and delivering a battle of the highest level.
What a fight it was. Very, very close. It was difficult to split these guys from round one right through until the final bell. We thought it was going to be close. We thought it was going to be tight, and it was. Both of these guys put it all on the line. Bivol lost the first one in a close, controversial match, and many thought Bivol did enough. I originally thought Bivol did enough when I watched it on the night, but watching it back, I thought Beterbiev finished stronger, landed the more eye-catching shots, so he deserved to get his hand held for the undisputed titles.
In addition, Froch had expressed his belief that in the rematch, Dmitry Bivol had understood the need to be more active and make adjustments. Froch had stated that Bivol had learned from his mistakes in the first fight, coming in with a stronger game plan. This time, he had started with urgency and finished even stronger.
This was the rematch, and Bivol came into this fight knowing that he had to do more. He knew where he went wrong in the first one. He took his foot off the gas in the end, whether he was tired, whether he was fatigued, or whether he just thought he'd done enough to win, and it was close, and he just didn't want to take a gamble, didn't want to risk it against the monster puncher that Beterbiev is. So, you know, this one, he came in with a purpose. He came in like a man on a mission. He knew he had to finish strong. And to be honest, he didn't just finish strong, he started strong. The fight was close.
Frank Warren had described the fight as a privilege to watch, calling it an unforgettable clash between two great fighters who could be considered the best of their generation, possibly even of the 21st century. He had praised the bout as truly unbelievable, adding that it had even surpassed the excitement of their first fight.
The fight was a privilege to watch. It's one you'll never forget. Two great fighters, probably the two best of their generation and probably of the 21st century. Unbelievable fight. Much better than the first one. And they gave their all. And we're going to get probably a trilogy out of it now.
On the other hand, Lonnie B had strongly disagreed with the decision, calling it outright unfair. He argued that it felt as though Bivol had been awarded the win simply for making it to the final bell, rather than truly earning it. According to Lonnie B, Bivol may have taken the first 2 rounds and done reasonably well in the 10th, but he had been in serious trouble in the 12th and, in his view, had not done enough to deserve the victory. Froch had analyzed the fight round by round, stating that both men had landed significant shots throughout the contest. According to his scorecard, he had given 5 rounds to Artur Beterbiev and 6 to Dmitry Bivol, with the first round scored even. As a result, Froch had Bivol edging the fight with a narrow 6-5 advantage on his card in favor of Bivol.
Then there was big punches landing from both men all the way through. But my scorecard had it Beterbiev 5 rounds, Bivol 6 rounds, with the first round even. So 6-5. So I had Bivol winning the fight, and he won the fight, and it was close, and there wasn't too many arguments. I mean, depending on what you like.
Carl Froch had weighed in on the challenges of subjective scoring, noting that while Artur Beterbiev's heavy, eye-catching shots may have appeared more damaging, they were often limited to just 1 or 2 per round. In contrast, Froch had highlighted Dmitry Bivol's ability to work consistently off both his front and back foot, landing fluid 5 to 7 punch combinations even under pressure. He had emphasized that despite Beterbiev's power, there had been clear rounds where Bivol's volume and precision had given him the edge on the scorecards.
This is the problem with subjective scoring in boxing. Beterbiev's landing heavy shots, big eye-catching shots that look like they're damaging. But to be honest, if you're only landing 1 or 2 of them throughout the round, and Bivol worked so consistently off his front foot, off his back foot, but putting the shots together, 5, 6, 7 punch combinations while he was under pressure and getting through the guard of Beterbiev. There was lots of rounds where you're saying, listen, Bivol won that round clearly. For me, there was clear rounds being won by Bivol.
Froch had admitted that it was rare for a fight to leave him on the edge of his seat, but this showdown had done just that, twice. He had praised both fighters as elite competitors, stating that the bout had showcased the art of pugilism at its finest. In the end, Froch had concluded that the right man had his hand raised in victory.
I'll be honest, I don't often sit on the edge of my seat watching a fight, mesmerised. That's twice I've done this now, because these two guys are so good. Elite level amateurs, elite athletes, and the art of pugilism, the sweet science of boxing at its best. And, you know, to get a conclusive winner, I know some people at ringside had it tight and some of the pundits on the broadcast had it close, but there's no complaints there. The right man won. Bivol deserved to win. He was busier. He was landing cleaner, more accurate shots.
Teofimo Lopez had analyzed Beterbiev's strategy, noting that he had focused more on attacking the body than the head. Lopez believed that if Beterbiev had continued targeting the body, it could have slowed Bivol down throughout the fight. Despite the outcome, Lopez had emphasized that the focus should now shift toward a potential trilogy to settle the rivalry once and for all.
Landing a little bit more, a bit better. I think what I would take from Beterbiev, I think what I noticed a bit different was that he was going for the body more than the head. I think he should have kept going that route. I think it would have slowed Bivol down. But hey, I think that we should look forward to a trilogy now.
Yeah, you think a third fight?
I think that'd be awesome. You know, the Trinity trilogy.
Terence Crawford had observed that Dmitry Bivol had entered the fight in better shape than in the previous encounter. He had praised Bivol for leaving everything in the ring and displaying a greater desire to win, which had ultimately made the difference in securing victory.
He was in better shape. Yeah? He left it all in the ring. He wanted them more.
Frank Smith also addressed the growing calls for a trilogy, stating that in his view, he argued that the unofficial record stood at 2-0 in favor of Dmitry Bivol, as many, himself included, had believed Bivol had won the first bout as well. Smith suggested that this widespread sentiment was the reason why the rematch was made quickly. However, he acknowledged that both fighters were elite operators and trilogy would still generate interest.
Yeah, look, a lot of people, like you say, people talking about the trilogy. I believe it's 2-0 unofficially. You know, I believe he won the first fight again, and a lot of people have that same feeling, hence why the rematch happened so quickly. So, you know, it's 2-0. But look, it's two elite operators. It's a fight people would want to see again, of course. You know, another huge fight is obviously the Canelo Alvarez fight as well. At some point, you know, I know he's got his own path that he's on as well. You know, he's obviously fighting Williams Cole. Then talk about the Crawford fight after that.
Dmitry revealed to the media that Artur Beterbiev had approached Dmitry Bivol in the ring for a second time after the fight, but had refused to shake hands, signaling his intent for a trilogy. In response, Bivol had respected Beterbiev's decision, stating that it was no problem, further fueling anticipation for a potential third encounter between the two champions.
And say thank you for this fight. And we shake hands. And he said, thank you for the fight also, and this is sport, yeah, this is what happened. You are a good fighter also. And then we had another talk. He came, but he didn't, but he said like, I will not shake hand now, because we will have third fight. And it was in the normal way, not like arrogant, you know, it was fine. I said, okay, no problem.
Anthony Yarde expressed his disagreement with the decision, stating that, in his view, the fight was so close that, according to him, it was a draw. Yarde had believed Beterbiev should have gotten the victory.
I did.
Yep.
Not.
What?
No, I didn't. So,
You didn't do it?
I thought personally, Beterbiev won. Yeah. Small margin, or it was a draw. But again, you can't argue with the decision being given.
Just his pressure in it, you thought that Beterbiev deserved it? The pressure?
I just personally believe Beterbiev, the champion.
Yeah.
I didn't see it as like he took Beterbiev's belt away from him. It was a close fight.
Turki Alalshik stated that Dmitry Bivol fully deserved the victory and emphasized that the focus should now be on a trilogy. He had added that if Artur Beterbiev accepted the challenge, a third fight would be set.
He deserved it, and we want to see the third.
We'll see the third fight now.
Yeah.
Do you think Dmitry Bivol had done enough tonight?
Yeah, if Artur accepts, we will have the third.
Josh Warrington had backed the judge's decision, stating that he believed the right call had been made. He had revealed that he scored the fight 116 to 114 in favor of Dmitry Bivol, giving Bivol 6 rounds, Beterbiev 4, and marking 2 rounds as even.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I had 6-4 and then 2 shared. I know people don't like having a shared round, but some of them rounds were that tight, and I just couldn't split them. There was sometimes Bivol would start the round well and Beterbiev would finish it better, and vice versa. But
Gareth A. Davies highlighted the extraordinary nature of the rivalry, emphasizing that after 24 grueling rounds, neither fighter had shown a moment of pain or anguish. He had praised both men for giving everything inside the ring, and noted that, in his view, both fights had been so closely contested that they could have gone either way.
Over 24 rounds between these two guys is that they haven't shown a minute of pain, a minute of anguish, and yet they've given everything in those 24 rounds, and both fights could have gone either way. I think the best thing, I had Beterbiev winning last night, 7 rounds to 5, even though the judges scored it to Bivol. He thoroughly deserved it. It was what you like to get in terms of styles. But the great thing for boxing fans, and maybe not for them in the long term, is that we'll see a trilogy fight between these two modern masters.
Ade Oladipo had admitted that from the 9th round onward, he had been completely mesmerized by the action, to the point where he could do nothing but applaud. While initially he was not overly excited about the prospect of a trilogy, he had acknowledged that the fight was so close that a third was necessary.
And it got to the stage, I was screaming from rounds like 5 to 8. From 9 onwards, I was just clapping. I was like that, I'm not joking, I was just clapping, thinking, you are a genius. You are a fucking genius. So look, I'm so happy for Dmitry Bivol. It's one apiece. I don't really want to see a trilogy. I would rather see other dance partners, but it's one apiece. And it was so close in both fights. You got to do it again.
Michael Buffer had acknowledged the possibility of a third fight, noting that while many had scored it wider in favor of Bivol, the judges had it much closer, with one even ruling it a draw. He had praised the bout as a showcase of classic offense versus defense, highlighting the masterful footwork and counterpunching on display.
Looks like we might go to number 3. I hope so. It's amazing. Most people I talked to had it wider than the judges, especially the judges had it a draw. But classic offense, defense, leg work, counter-punching. It was a great fight.
Moving on to the co-main event between Joseph Parker and Martin Bakole, where Bakole stepped up to face Parker at the 11th hour, but got knocked out in the 2nd round. Michael Buffer had admitted that he hadn't expected the fight to unfold the way it did, but had praised Joseph Parker's ripped shape. He had given credit to both fighters for accepting the fight. Buffer expressed his eagerness to see Martin Bakole face anyone next. According to Buffer, Bakole deserves more big opportunities.
I didn't see it happening like that, not at all. Parker came in at 267, but he was ripped. I mean, he was really in great shape, and he's been training like crazy, and he didn't want to give it up. We got to give both guys credit for taking that fight, like against each other. And
he deserves a world title shot, doesn't he, Parker?
But I still want to see Bakole fight anybody. I think he's a hell of a heavyweight.
Being devastated, Martin Bakole admitted that he had not seen the punch that ended the fight, but acknowledged that in boxing, anything could happen, especially in the heavyweight division. He had expressed gratitude to his coach for deciding to stop the fight.
To be honest, I would not see the punch today, but it's a boxing. Anything can happen, and especially it's heavyweight. Like you see, I'm sitting with my coach. I'm asking him why not giving me a second chance. He said, no, you watch the video, because until now I've not watched the video. For me, I was thinking maybe I'm going to recover and come back again, like Joseph Parker did to Big Zhang. But thank God, I have a coach besides me saying, no, as a coach, I should stop the fight.
Joseph Parker reflected on his strategy, stating that the best time to attack is when you're being attacked. He had explained that the game plan had been to remain calm and structured, selecting the right shots at the right moments. According to Parker, he had executed the preparations perfectly on fight night.
The best way to attack someone is when they're attacking you. And before the fight, the plan was to stay calm and composed and structured and pick your shots, and show that tonight.
In addition, Joseph Parker had expressed gratitude to Martin Bakole and his team for stepping up and taking the fight on short notice. He had acknowledged that they had backed themselves, but pointed out that both fighters hadn't had the same preparation time leading into the bout, but praised Bakole and stated that Martin managed to do his best.
I just want to say thanks to Martin Bakole and his team, Billy Nelson. And to take this fight, they backed themselves, but he didn't have the same prep time. But, you know, he backed himself, he went in there, put on the best performance he could, and I was able to get him out of there.
Frank Warren acknowledged that Martin Bakole had only 2 days to prepare, but recalled past instances where fighters seized last-minute opportunities. He noted that Bakole took the fight on short notice, but was well compensated for stepping in, so instead of the opportunity, he was able to grab good money. Warren also credited Bakole for accepting the challenge.
I think any fighter who comes in, 2 days, but I've also seen those Cinderella stories where it's happened. Like I can remember Steve Robinson coming in and then holding onto the belt and defending it around, I don't know, it was eight maybe 10 times. It's sometimes you grab the opportunity. He certainly grabbed a bucket full of money, so he got well paid for it, and Joe got his win and done it in absolute style. I'll take my hat off to Martin for coming over and doing what he did, but that was a bit of a statement, wasn't it, from Joe Parker?
Eddie Hearn had stated that the fight should not have happened, emphasizing that no one had done anything wrong, but questioning the decision from Bakole's perspective. Representing Bakole, Hearn had pointed out that while he had struggled to secure opportunities in the past, he had now become a recognized figure during the RIYADH season, was well liked, and had built a strong brand.
I don't think the fight should have happened, if I'm honest.
Do you think Parker should have been pulled, or someone who was
not
Parker?
Not Parker. I just feel like I don't think anyone did anything wrong. But when you're representing Martin Bakole, you've got to ask yourself, right? For a long time, he struggled to get opportunities. Right now, he's found his way in RIYADH season. He's very well liked. He's developing a bit of a name.
Eddie Hearn had reflected on Martin Bakole's decision to take the fight on short notice, stating that sometimes a fighter needs to step back and assess the situation. He had questioned the wisdom of believing he could defeat Joseph Parker without being fully fit and active. Hearn had also revealed that Bakole had worn Daniel Dubois' gloves, emphasizing that Martin was not prepared. He had stressed the importance of having the right people around to advise when something is not in a fighter's best interest.
He took 2 flights indirect across Africa and landed this morning here. I think sometimes you need to just take a step back and go, what on earth were you doing? Do you know what I mean?
Like it seems a good idea at the time.
Yeah, we'll go. We're fit. We can beat Parker.
It would have been
and then you're not fit. You're probably you probably don't know what day of the week he is. He's got Daniel Dubois' gloves on. You know what I mean? So I think it was a bad decision. I really do.
Matt Macklin expressed his surprise at Joseph Parker stopping Martin Bakole in the second round, admitting that he did not expect an early knockout. However, he noted that the timing was crucial as Bakole had begun increasing his intensity. Macklin acknowledged that Bakole had landed a few solid shots. Stoppage had come before Bakole could fully impose himself.
Probably not, but it was good timing when he got him, because it was just starting to look like it might be getting a bit tough in there, because Bakole was starting to crank it up a few notches, wasn't he? He was letting his hands go, and he landed a few uppercuts. I think there was a bit of blood coming from the nose of Parker, and I think Parker was probably thinking, oh, here we go, and then he just caught him with that shot, and obviously I think it was high up on the top of the head, and his legs were completely gone, and the ref made the right call.
Moreover, Matt Macklin reflected on Joseph Parker's victory, stating that Parker fought the version of Martin Bakole that was available on the night. He emphasized that Bakole couldn't be at his best, given that he was overweight out of training and a couple of stones heavier than required. However, Macklin hoped Bakole was well compensated for stepping in on short notice and expressed his wish for him to get more opportunities in the future.
But ultimately, he turned up and he took the fight, and you beat who's in front of you, so he beat that version of Martin Bakole, because that's the one that was there tonight. Is that the best Martin Bakole? No, it would be impossible for it to be the best Martin Bakole, because he took it at such short notice. He wasn't in training. He was a couple of stone heavier than he normally would be, so no. But I hope he got well paid, and I'm sure he'll get another chance somewhere down the road.
Who were you rooting for? Do you want a trilogy? Cause we sure do. Let us know in the comments below if Martin made the correct move fighting Parker. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving us a like, share with a fellow boxing fan, and subscribe so you don't miss a beat, and we will see you in the next video with more exciting updates.